Hey guys, me again. Well, I'm here to talk about internet horror. Not internet horror, internet horror. Either way, to begin, internet horror is one of the biggest things on the internet. Of course, some of the genres had its time to rise and shine. Their goods and their bads. And throughout the years, it has also had a massive impact on those that love the horror genre in general, as it scared the living hell out of anybody to see these kinds of things. It started off as creepypastas, ranging from the early 2000s to the mid 2010s. Then digital horror from the mid 2010s to the 2020s. Up to like now, really. And of course, analog horror, which is still popular today at this moment. With creepypastas, it's a horror story that gets copied and pasted over across the internet over time, such as social medias and forums. And most of the popular characters and creations made by users were Slender Man, which is still the most important character in horror in general, as he was created by a user named Victor Surge, real name Eric Knutson, in the Something Awful forums, which ran a Photoshop contest on who could make paranormal images. And that's where the birth of Slender Man kind of came around. And once it started getting traction, started making more. Marble Hornets, which is a web series that added more to the Slender Man mythos that people still follow to this day. SCP, which users get to create their own creatures and anomalies.
So thank you all so much for watching.
You have Squidward Suicide, which was referenced in SpongeBob.
Oh, this place is a nightmare! No one's...
You have Ben Drowned, which is a haunted video game which a kid, I think, drowns. Was Ben? I actually don't remember. You have Minecraft Herobrine. Yes, this is a creepypasta. The Edgy Jeff the Killer, which its original image is more interesting than its edgy story, as the image itself is kind of considered as lost media, with several searches going to dead ends. You have Smile Dog. My dead girlfriend keeps messaging me on Facebook. You have The Rake, The Keyhole, and lastly, the Russian Sleep Experiment. And of course, there's a bunch of stories and creations that usually with now a niche fan base with art, games, and short films still being created today. But at the same time, most of them were usually just fan fiction that tried to bank off the good stuff. As for digital horror, that would include games, art, and shorts. So things like Five Nights at Freddy's, Slender the Eight Pages, and the sequel, Slender the Arrival, a personal favorite. Cogs in a Machine, Death Forest, Take Care, Siren Head, Who is Behind Our Face, Outlast, Amnesia the Dark Descent, David Fripp's Salad Fingers, My House Walkthrough, Dining Room or There Is Nothing, No Through Road, which inspired me to create my own short for high school film class for my Halloween project. I Feel Fantastic, which was actually featured on Smiling Friends on their Halloween episode. The biggest internet horror genre as of right now is analog horror. So, analog horror is a genre that uses the aesthetics of old, outdated technology, such as VHS or CRT TVs, which I miss my CRT TV. I got the old Cars one still in the garage. It usually often uses the styles of public broadcasting, public access channels, and home videos, which really is just found footage. But it's all there just to create a mood of uneasiness since it's more realistic in nature. Some of the popular ones of analog horror would be Mandela Catalog, Gemini Home Entertainment, Local 58, which was one of the first ones to start up the genre, Angel Hair, Mommy Mythos, and lastly The Backrooms, which is getting a movie created by the same guy who makes the Backroom videos, whose name is King Pixels, and he's also 20. Which means I gotta start stepping up a little more further for my movie ideas, I guess. Actually put effort into my projects. But that's fine, I guess. Of course, with all these different genres of internet horror, there's some good and bad that comes with it. Especially the tropes I all seem to use, also commonly. For example, a game must be haunted at all times. If you have a TV show, you gotta have lost, cursed episodes. Lots of suicide, mental issues, lots of gore, unnecessary gore, horrible fan bases. You have the so-called creepypasta joke, the hyper-realistic bleeding eyes. The next one is either God is dead or God isn't real in this universe. And lastly, now being with VHS aesthetics, which kind of stained a lot of horror projects over the years. Oh, and I can't forget the one last thing. Jump scares.
I'll play through.
She's coming when you hear that crying, right? That's
Jesus fucking Christ.
I cover my eyes like a baby
Jesus.
right there.
Is there anyone here?
Like a military tank.
No, I meant the kind
I thought I was gonna turn into Modern Warfare 3 up here.
Would be the Slenderman stabbing, which occurred on May 31st, 2014 between 3 girls. The 2 of them stabbing their friend in the name of Slenderman. A good documentary to watch about this would be called Beware the Slenderman, which is actually on HBO Max at the moment. And it is actually an interesting watch. It also kind of brought back that sense of the Satan scares from like the 70s and 80s. In a very fast retrospect, the internet will always be huge and sometimes innovative with its storytelling and visuals despite the overuse of certain tropes and how they are used. Of course, there will always be an abundance of really bad horror which overlaps shadows the good stuff. So that was a quick rundown of internet horror. Some good, some bad, but overall a good supply will always be there for those who are still interested in, user created content, not content, but stories and creation. But of course we'll always have the bad that usually waters most of it down, and that's all I could say. Thank you for watching.